What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Take 3 podcast. My name is Brandon. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Alex. We're here on Thursday morning. It's literally NFL Eve. It almost feels like Christmas Eve for football fans. It's literally the last couple hours before we're not going to have football. I mean, we're going to have football for the next, 5 months, 4 months, straight until February. It's almost like a holiday for us. It sucks that it needs to be a national holiday, I'd say. But obviously, we got Bills, Rams tonight, huge matchup. Going into the weekend, some big ones as well. We get to see, new look. Baker Mayfield to the Panthers looking to get some revenge. We get to see the Trey Lance era start going on the road to Chicago. We could see Matt Ryan in a New Jersey. That'll be weird. First glance, right? Seeing him in a Colts uniform since he's been with Atlanta so long. Doug Peterson looks to go back to an old NFC's rival and steal a game, face his old quarterback. They had a little rift that ended in Philly, so he would love to get that dub. Then you go into later afternoon, some real barn burners. You get the Chiefs, Cardinals, 6-point spread. I thought that was kind of asinine. We'll get into that a little bit later. Chargers, Raiders get at it, and then Green Bay, Minnesota. And then obviously we wrap up Sunday with the Bucs and Cowboys surprising Tom Brady. Obviously he came back, so that's a big one. They get a primetime game. And then the week wraps up with Russell Wilson going back home. But I mean, how you feeling? Thursday morning, we're a couple hours from NFL kickoff. Full slate of games is coming up this weekend. What are you looking for? What matchup are you looking for before we kind of dive into the games we'll cover? What excites you the most about this week?
Man, I am super excited for football. I haven't been this excited for a season in a few years. Eagles have a real chance to be a good competitive football team. That adds so much fun to the season for me. Russell Wilson in Denver. I can't wait to see the NFC West. And honestly, the game I'm really excited about this week is the opener Thursday night, Bills Rams. We're going to get into it, but I think that's going to be a phenomenal opener to open the season. Last year, we got the Sunday night matchup that is this year, Bucs Cowboys to open the season, and that was a real good one as well. So I'm just so excited that NFL football is back.
For sure. It's great, to be honest. And I mean, we might as well dive right into it. That's the matchup you're most excited for. I'm super excited to see how it plays out. We got the week one. If the slide would let me go over, there we go. We got Bills going on the road to LA. Some could say they're getting their revenge, right? They wanted, if the overtime kind of worked out how it did in Kansas City and they were able to get through the Bengals, that this could have been a Super Bowl matchup last year, right? In their eyes, they should have been playing the Rams last year in the Super Bowl, but obviously we saw how that played out. So they get their shot here. They're 2.5-point favorites, I think it's up to, on the road going into LA. Obviously, we've seen all the Matt Stafford elbow stuff. It kind of more came out after we did that NFC West episode, I think 2 weeks ago, where they said the arm's as good as it's ever been, or it's better than it was last year. So I don't even know how that's rolling. And then obviously we got Josh Allen on the other side. I've called it a revenge season. The Bills look laser locked in. Obviously no Tre'Davious White. He's kind of working his way back from the ACL. I mean, he'll be out first 4 weeks, but what are you looking for in this matchup when you kind of jump into this? I'm kind of seeing, what team can shake the rust off when the banner goes up. Will there be a little bit of nerves for the Rams? A little bit of jitters, that adrenaline goes when you see the banners go up, you get the rings. But what are you looking for when you look at the Bills and the Rams tonight?
Yeah, it's going to be a high energy game. The banner's going up, celebrating the Super Bowl one more time before they start their defense for the title. You never know, Super Bowl slump. I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see how these teams come out. No Tre'Davious White, so I think the Rams are going to be able to attack the Bills through the air. I think we're going to see big games for the number 2 receivers here. That's what I'm really excited for matchup wise. I want to see Gabriel Davis for the Bills and Allen Robinson in a new uniform with a real quarterback for once with the Rams. I think they could both be in store for big nights. I'm really excited for that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I want to see Von Miller for the Bills, see if he can make a difference. They're going to need him, especially with the secondary kind of banged up right now for the Bills. Against his old team, defending champs, and then Bobby Wagner's first game as a Ram. So I'm really excited. I think there's a lot of variables here. It's kind of hard to tell which way this game's going to go. I think the spread is kind of wild, though. Vegas clearly sees the Bills as the best team in football. They're going on the road, and they're still 2.5-point favorites, which tells me if this game was in Buffalo, they'd be 7.5 points, 6.5 to 7.5, which just seems kind of high to me. I like the Rams here at home. They're going to come out hot, defend their Super Bowl title. I think it's going to be a very close game. I'm taking Rams plus 2.5, and I'm keeping my eyes on those wide receiver twos because I think they're in store for big games tonight.
Yeah, he's straight up jumping and giving his pick. I do like the Rams 2.5. I don't know. These home openers are kind of weird if I remember back.
Yeah.
I want to say a couple years ago when the Chiefs went into New England and like absolutely spanked the shit out of the Patriots. And it's like kind of nobody saw that coming. It's like these home games, as I said, I think we did it on the NFC West preview when we were talking about the schedule. It's like these the Super Bowl champions coming home. Usually I favor them, and then I kind of lean back and forth, right? Like if I had to pick outright, if you asked me like 3 months ago, 4 months ago, I say Rams, just because I don't think they'd lose at home. Then we do the NFC West, and I'm like Bills, and I think I'm still rolling Bills outright to win the game. But at 2.5, right? I mean, I went 2.5 as well. We'll go over our spread picks at the end, but it just feels like, right, the Bills can win by a field goal, can be a 27-24 great game, right? And then you still cover the spread. So I do like that. What I'm looking at, though, as far as the game itself, I'm looking to see what Cam Akers can do, how he looks, because it's a big year for him. Obviously, I'm looking at Matt Stafford and the elbow and kind of does he have the zip on the passes? They say it's good. They say he kind of everything's good, but you got to see, right, when the cameras turn on, how he's slinging the ball. I do like Allen Robinson. He kind of gets forgot about a little bit. Nobody's really been talking. I mean, it's tough when you're in a wide receiving group with Cooper Kupp, right? He's going to get the hype, and you kind of got guys like Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald on that roster as well. Bobby Wagner, he's not going to get as much time. But I do think he's in line for, I don't know about a big night. I mean, he could have a big night, but a big year in general. I think we're both on board with that. But I'm interested to see, how the Bills are going to cover Cooper Kupp, how they're going to deal with that without Tre'Davious White having him. I'm also interested to see that Rams pass rush. Obviously, you mentioned Von Miller's now on the other side, which is going to be super funny, right? First game, he gets to go right back to be against the guys that he won the Super Bowl with. So I want to see that Rams pass rush. Can they contain Josh Allen? We know Josh Allen likes to use the legs, get out of the pocket. What is Raheem Morris's defense going to look like to contain that? And then obviously I want to see, what does Josh Allen look like? It's the Josh Allen show when he's out there on the field. Is he going to be slinging the rock? Is Gabe Davis going to be eaten up? Is Stephon Diggs going to have a day? Is Jalen Ramsey going to follow Stephon Diggs? Obviously Ramsey hasn't shadowed number ones in the past. Will they change that up and surprise us all? Who knows? As you said, there's a lot of variables on the table. 2.5. It feels like a great line. I think we're in line for one hell of a game, I'd say, for the opening night. I love it.
The other interesting part is to see how the Bills call the game, new offensive coordinator, if they're going to try and be a little more run heavy. Obviously, they're still going to rely on the passing game, Josh Allen and that arm, but it's going to be interesting to see if they kind of mix it up a little bit and try and scale back the passing a little bit this year. I really don't think they will for the full season. I think it's going to play out. It's going to be the same passing offense, but to open the season, I feel like they could be a little run heavy at times.
Yeah, they could. I just think bright lights, LA. I expect some gunslinging, to be honest. And I don't know if they've found that. Yeah, I don't know if they've found that running back either through like training camp or preseason, that they're like, okay, we can just run this guy, run this guy, run this guy. So it's kind of, do you want to look like dog shit in the first week of the season in LA when you're the only game on a spotlight? I think, but I mean, it's definitely a factor to go in the season, right? See how the offense is going to look. Are they going to try to tell Josh Allen, don't scramble as much? I think that would be a terrible decision because of what he does with the legs. I mean, we saw damn near the Patriots couldn't stop him in the playoff. He's just he's a glitchy player. I hate to use that word. It's kind of a video game term, but he kind of is. Like, the guy has the arm strength. He can move. He does everything. Truly a remarkable talent. And it's something that the Rams are going to have to game plan against.
Yeah, two offenses, lots of points. Over set at 51. I lean towards the over, but it's pretty high. Kind of scares me.
Yeah, 51. What did I say? 20. I think 27-24 is like a good. That was my score. What's that? That goes just
51.
51. Then it's a hell. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, then it's one hell of a line. Yeah, I think we're in line for a game. I'm super excited to see this just in a couple hours. Right, as I said, it's Thursday morning, but. Let's move on to some of the Sunday games. One that we're going to cover is obviously a big one. Aaron Rodgers and his new receiving core, his group of rookies, right? Rookies and first-year guy. Oh, I forgot about Alan Lazard as well. He still has him. He's rolling up with new look guys. Devontae Adams, he's out of there. He didn't want to come back. I heard Devontae Adams was also wearing Raiders gear in the offseason when he was a Packer. I saw that this week on Twitter. I was like, that's hilarious. That man really didn't like Green Bay. He really just hung around for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I can't blame him. Aaron Rodgers is one hell of a quarterback, at least in the regular season. So can't blame him. And then on the other side, we got Kirk Cousins, Kevin O'Connell, new coach in Minnesota. looking to kind of right the new ship, right? We knew how the Mike Zimmer era went. It kind of had a good year with Case Keenum. They obviously made that run to the NFC title game, and then they got Kirk Cousins and kind of never got that back. But they have a lot, right? They have Justin Jefferson still, Dalvin Cook's there. Older secondary as we went over, Danielle Hunter's still there, Eric Kendricks. I almost said Michael Kendricks, former Eagle. Eric Kendricks. So I'm just interested to see how the Vikings offense looks with Kevin McConnell. Will it be the pre-snap motion, that LA offense, that San Fran style of offense, or will it be something different? I mean, Kirk's been if you look at the stat lines, like he's been fine. He's just never been able to get over that hump when it comes to getting to the playoffs and making a run at something. They kind of have everything offensively on the table for him to have a big year along with the head coach. I believe the line right now is, what is it? It was like Packers 1.5, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Packers 1.5 on the road. Another thing is the Vikings always give them like a tough game, I feel like, to early in the season for sure. And Aaron Rodgers, new weapons. We don't know what they're going to look like. So what do you think when you look at Packers, Vikings in Minnesota, Saturday afternoon, what are you looking at? And how do you think the Packers are going to look? It's a whole new core. Is Aaron Rodgers going to trust these guys week one, or is it kind of it's going to be some bumps and bruises early?
I think Green Bay will be fine as the season progresses, but I do think they're going to have some bumps and bruises early. At least on the offensive side of the ball, obviously you have Aaron Rodgers in the very limited sample size without Devontae Adams the last few years. He's won those games. He's able to spread the ball around. Aaron knows exactly what he's doing. I expect him to be good. But I think they rely on the run a little heavy here. Some AJ Dillon, some Aaron Jones. I think in general this year they're going to rely on it. It's just interesting. It feels like there's a lot of variables for the first time in Green Bay for a while offensively. So I don't know. I think there's going to be some bumps and bruises. They're playing a Vikings team that you kind of already laid out, new offense, ton of weapons. I'm very excited to see how this Vikings offense looks because Kirk Cousins has been better than most people think. He's been above average. Obviously, the team results has not been exactly what he wants, but he's played well, honestly. And I'm excited for this Vikings offense. I'm kind of worried about their defense. And then Green Bay's defense, I said during the preview, they have the ability to be the best defense in the league. So if they play up to their standard of what they're capable, they can easily go in and win this game. We've seen Green Bay kind of have a history of starting kind of slow. They got absolutely whooped by the Saints last year to open the season, which was definitely an outlier. That was a strange performance. And I don't know. I just think with some variables going in, the Packers offensively might have some bumps and bruises and struggle. I kind of like Minnesota here at home, new offense, a lot of weapons. They're going to definitely have to outscore them though if they're going to win, because I'm not relying on this Vikings defense.
For sure. No, the Vikings defense, especially the secondaries, kind of, they're definitely shaky. They obviously have to get after the quarterback. But when I look at the Packers, you got Randall Cobb, you got Alan Lazard, you got Sammy Watkins, Romeo Dubes, Christian Watson. These aren't guys that I'm rolling in week one into a division game on the road and I'm jumping up and down. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is jumping up and down. And I think we talked about this when we broke down the NFC North as a whole. And we talked about the Packers. I know at least I did, was obviously the smart thing would be, right, use your running backs. You got Aaron Jones kind of on a bargain bin deal. You have AJ Dillon, a big bruiser. You kind of still have that offensive line. Bakatari should be back at left tackle. So you have everything there. Run the ball, right? But Aaron Rodgers is there. Is he going to want that? Is he going to say run the ball? We don't know, right? That's something that we'll get to see week one. I doubt it will be as much as we kind of hope, because that will take some stress off the young receiving core and the aging veterans. But I just don't like what they're putting out there on the table week one in a division game against a team that's already given them problems when they had Devontae Adams on the field, right? It's weird. The Vikings, obviously we're harping on that same defense being able to get after Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to change as the quarterback and take more risks, right? He's kind of still going to be that guy dancing back there forever, fall down, take a sack, and basically be the QBR whore. I've said that forever. He's a big he is a QBR whore if we've ever seen one. But yeah, I don't like those receivers going out there. The Vikings secondary is concerning, but I don't know if the Packers have guys to even expose that secondary that bad. And then when you go to the Vikings side, with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen looks like he's finally back healthy. Dalvin Cook's there. It's like, do they have the Packers? They're going to have their work cut out for him in the secondary as well. Do the Packers? Jair Alexander is good. Eric Stokes is good. Rasul Douglas, I believe, is still back there. Those are good guys, but obviously in an offensive league right now, how it is, it's hard to cover those guys. So they're going to be able to cover the Justin Jeffersons, the Adam Thielens. Kirk has kind of everything out there on the dish. It's just going to be on him and Kevin McConnell or O'Connell to get the ball out there to them.
I even like KJ Osborne, the number 3 receiver for Minnesota. It's just like I like their weapons quite a bit. And to the Green Bay offense point, it's weird to say, but I feel like they could be the most successful version of the Packers this year would be run heavy, Aaron averaging like 250 yards a game instead of his like 280 to 310 or something where he's passing heavy. I mean, it makes me think back of like when Seattle was winning Super Bowls, great run game, Hall of Fame quarterback that when you needed to pass and get big plays, you could definitely get that done, and an elite defense. And I feel like Green Bay on paper has all those weapons in like the same kind of format. And it's weird to say, but Aaron Rodgers' team this year, I think, would be most successful with him averaging less yards and just being run heavy. Will they actually do that? I don't know. That's what I'm excited to see. It's going to be interesting to watch.
Exactly. Smart, efficient ball would be definitely to be the way, at least early, I think, because you just got a lot of guys that are unproven out there. And then the guys that you do have that are proven, they're old men, right? Randall Cobb, Sammy Watkins is like made of glass. I don't even know if he'll be able to get through week 1, right? He always seems to kind of come up with a injury. And then the Packers defense, I mean, I love what they have out there. The pass rush, they get Quay Walker, they drafted him. So they got to get after the quarterback, make it a tough day for the Vikings. I think, yeah, best thing for them is to be smart, efficient on offense, kind of control the game, play possession football, make Aaron Rodgers or have Aaron Rodgers be able to just pick his spots when he wants to throw the ball and just be efficient and get after Kirk Cousins, force him into some turnovers. But it's Aaron Rodgers' show at the end of the day. I mean, Matt LaFleur can be the head coach, but it's kind of Aaron Rodgers is still that guy. We saw why they did all the stuff in the offseason to get him to come back. We saw why they breaded him. And that is really what makes it, this matchup super fun. The 1.5 point line, it's gonna be a good one. I think it'll be one of the best games on Sunday.
Yeah, because the line is just 1.5 and a flip, I think for most individuals it's going to come back. Well, who's their quarterback, right? They're going to say Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers. So I think majority of people are going to lean Green Bay here, and I understand why. I think it's going to come down to who makes the least mistakes. I got a little bit of faith in Kirk Cousins. He's played better than people think. New offensive staff. So I'm going to go ahead and get my pick. I am leaning Minnesota plus 1.5. I think they actually just straight up win, get the job done. I think it's going to be very close, though.
Yep, I'm with you as well. Minnesota at home, they're kind of in their comfort zone. New head coach, the weapons are all healthy in there. The big question, all the O line just has to do their part of keeping Kirk upright. But yeah, I'm gonna roll with O'Connell and Cousins. It was 1.5. I felt good. They're at home. I like it as well. Them winning outright. I think it'll be bumps and bruises early for the Packers. I do think the Packers, they'll still be fine, right? Get into the middle of the season, but there's gonna be a lot of figuring out early on for Aaron Rodgers. We're going to see a lot of angry Aaron Rodgers, I think, out of the gates early this season. But I'm all for it, right? Guy choked away a big shot last year, and he's kind of a goofball. But let's move on. Game 3 that we're going to cover. Chiefs, Cardinals. Chiefs go on the road to play Kyler Murray, the newly paid Kyler Murray. There's no video games coming out, so Kyler Murray should be solely focused on football this week. Some would say 2K does come out, but I don't think he's a big 2K guy, so he's usually October's when Call of Duty comes out, and that's when Kyler dips. But there's 6-point dogs at home. I don't know. When I looked at that line, as I mentioned right off the top at the beginning of this thing, I was like, that feels kind of insane. I don't know. Just it's in the desert. I mean, obviously Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're a great duo. We know what the Chiefs bring to the table, but the Chiefs also, they lost Tyreek Hill. We don't know what the offense is going to look like without Tyreek Hill. The run game's kind of never been there. We just don't know who's going to be the guy right now. There's a lot of questions that I have for the Chiefs offense that it's like, I don't know them going on the road. I think they'll win. Obviously we'll jump into, but I mean, what are you looking at? Do you think the line is as crazy as I think it is? Or the Cardinals? I mean, I don't think the Cardinals are going to be that great this year, but do you feel they're getting a little shaded week 1? They usually come out of the gates pretty strong. We saw it last year.
Yeah, I think Vegas knows something we don't know, because I'm kind of with you on that. The 6 points felt like a lot, maybe in Kansas City, but in Arizona to start the year. One thing Arizona does really well with Kyler and Cliff Kingsbury is when they're scripted and they're the start of the games and the start of the halves, they do really well. And it kind of plays the same way for the season as well. The start of the season, before Kyler kind of gets beat up, before some Call of Duties come out, they do play really well and efficient. In all seriousness, though, like they're very good at the start of the year. We saw that run they went on to start the season last year. It's going to be interesting because there are some variables in this game. I don't really trust this Cardinals defense to slow down this Chiefs offense. Yes, there's some variables with the receiver position, but I think Patrick Mahomes, Juju, Valdez Scantling. I think there's enough there. Obviously, Travis Kelce's still there. And plus, you have Andy Reid calling the plays. I trust Andy Reid over Cliff Kingsbury, but the 6 points just feels like a lot. I believe it opened up at 2.5 and his about 2 weeks ago, and has slowly been bet up all the way to -6. It just feels a little outrageous. It's going to be interesting to see this Cardinals offense without DeAndre Hopkins, but you have Marquise Brown. They have a lot of other weapons. They still have James Conner. They got good running backs, Rondale Moore, Zach Ertz at tight end, and then a healthy Kyler. A healthy Kyler can beat anybody in the league any given Sunday. So I do think the Chiefs win this game. It's just 6 just feels like a lot, especially with the departure of Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, it feels hella weird to see 6 points. I don't know. When I looked at it, I was almost amazed. As you mentioned, yeah. I mean, what I'm looking for is what is the Cardinals offense going to look like out of the gate? The O-line's healthy. They still have James Conner. He's back. No DeAndre Hopkins, as you mentioned. It's like, who's going to be the guy soaking up all the targets? Are they going to swing the ball around? Are they going to use Kyler Murray more running around, creating things, doing things with his legs? What's Rondale Moore going to look like? There's a lot of weapons on the Cardinals offensive side that I just need to see what they're going to do. As I mentioned, when we did the NFC West preview and we talked about the Cardinals, Hollywood Brown with Kyler Murray, it seems like a match made in heaven. Obviously, they played at Oklahoma together. It's a way better fit NFL scheme wise with him over Lamar. Just Kyler's ability to air the ball out deep kind of fits perfectly. Obviously, Hollywood Brown's a speedster, but I need to see what it looks like on the field on Sunday. And then when we go to the Chiefs side, I don't know what that offense is going to really look like. I haven't watched much Chiefs preseason. I'll be honest, I don't follow preseason football. I don't really put much stock into it. It's very dry, generic game plans anyway, as it is. And with a guy like Andy Reid that's been around the game so long, his preseason game plans are not going to be his week one game plan. So the departure of Tyreek Hill, yeah, I'm looking to see who's going to be the number one guy. Obviously, number one wide receiver. That was a big topic. Obviously, we know Travis Kelce is going to get his. He is going to be the focal point, has to be the focal point of that offense. And then I need to see their running backs as well, right? They have a 4-man running back room. I imagine Rojo is going to be inactive, but can Clyde Edwards-Helaire take over? What's Jerick McKinnon going to look like? The rookie Isaiah Pacheco, is he going to get in there? What is their running game? Just what is their entire offensive scheme going to look like without Tyreek Hill out there? And then, I mean, when you look at the Cardinals defense, can they slow down Patrick Mahomes? Not many teams. I mean, teams did early on last year, was very weird. But when we saw the Chiefs get back to their football through the stretch and into the AFC title game, nobody could stop them. They scored in 13 seconds against the Bills in the divisional round, and everybody was just, it was amazed. So I don't know if the Cardinals defense out there is equipped, but yeah, the line feels like the ultimate Vegas scam, if I'm being honest. Like 6 points, it's like they want you to pick the Cardinals so bad, and then the Chiefs will win by like 21 points and you'll just look like a dumbass, right? That's kind of how it feels when I keep looking at it and looking at it and looking at it. I took the Cardinals at 6. I don't even know. I mean, I'm not happy with it, but I just don't know. I don't know how that line was built. Obviously, as I said, we said this before we left, Vegas makes money for a reason. Vegas has been in business this long for a reason. So they do know something that we don't know. And I expect to fully be wrong taking the Cardinals +6.
Yeah, see, you pretty much nailed it for me, talking about Vegas knows something we don't know. Like, it's one of those that I feel so good about, like Cardinals +6, that the Chiefs got to win by 10.
Exactly. I feel like they know the Cardinals offense is going to come out like dog shit, and the Chiefs that will probably roll them. But I'm just going to roll Cardinals just because they're at home. It's week 1, right? It's hard. We got to see these teams. Once we get some data on these teams, see how these teams play, then you can kind of decipher. But it's tough week 1. I mean, coming off a preseason, a lot of these guys don't play a lot in preseason as it is. So that's what factored into my pick, at least.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. That's what makes week 1 so tough, right? There's so many changes on these teams. We go off what we think the new additions are going to do. We go off what we saw last year. But at the end of the day, these are completely new teams, new rosters. Yeah, there's some similarities from last year, but it's really hard to tell until we see them on the field. I think we're both in agreement. Cardinals cover, but Chiefs straight up win.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to, like not factoring in the Vegas scam portion of the line, I felt like I was sitting here right now, just disincluding the whole Vegas thing. Yeah, I think the Chiefs win, but the Cardinals do cover. I would hope the Cardinals don't get their asses beat at home after paying Kyler Murray, reing up the GM, reing up Cliff Kingsbury, right? Like all in one offseason. I would hope they at least find a way to cover. If not, shock us and beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, if they come out looking real bad, that's going to be a tough look with how they ended last year. They paid Kyler, and at the same time, it's going to be exasperated if Trey Lance and the Niners look real good, and if the Rams win as well. So, uh, kind of a bigger week one for the Cardinals. They need to come out and perform.
Yep, it's a big one. I'm looking at Kyler Murray, Hollywood, and his receivers, and then on the other side, Mahomes, and what does his receiving core look like? How do they utilize those guys out there? Moving on, we've got Sunday night football, not one that we kind of predicted in, what was it, February, when Tom Brady said, "I'm done." And then 40 days later, he said, "I'm back." Obviously, we got the Bucs going to Dallas, going to Jerry World. We've seen what the Cowboys did. They made a huge splash this week. They bring in legendary 39-year-old defensive tackle. He might be 49 by now. Jason Peters. Obviously, Tyron Smith is out. So they bring in a guy that I could probably bull rush by at this point in his career to play left tackle, cover up Dak's blind spot. Line right now, Bucs 2.5. This could be a fun one. Obviously, it was it not week one? It was week one of last year when we had that insane game down in Tampa Bay. So it's kind of that rematch. It goes the other way. It's in Dallas now. But I mean, that was a fun game. I mean, I expect another good one. Obviously, no Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin is going to be. I don't know.
I don't think he's playing.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything on Chris Godwin. So toss up, probably not ACL. But obviously, Julio Jones is out there. Mike Evans is out there. Leonard Fournette. I'm interested to see that interior offensive line for the Bucs. They went through centers like it's a clearance rack at Walmart. They're just going through them and going through them. So what are you looking for when you look at Bucs Cowboys? It's a big year for the Cowboys, right? It's probably Mike McCarthy's last year if he doesn't do something major. And then obviously it's always a big one when the GOAT comes back out of retirement. He pissed Giselle off. I heard that they're having a feud as well. That kind of caused his 2-week vacation thing. He pissed her off. So what are you looking at, Bucs Cowboys with Tom Brady and now back?
Yeah, so the points you hit on is what kind of makes this game interesting. I think if we went into this game, both teams fully healthy, Tom Brady's been at training camp, Bucs win by a field goal to a touchdown, I would feel good about that. But it's kind of interesting this year. There's Tom Brady seems to have some issues going on in his life. He missed 2 weeks. Any other quarterback you'd be more worried about is Tom Brady, so you expect him to be ready to go. But that is interesting. That's less practice time to get things straight. So that's kind of weird because the Cowboys defense is legitimately good. That's going to be what this team kind of relies on, which brings me into the Cowboys point. You got a 40-year-old tackle. We'll see how he does. That might be rough. And then this is really the first year where they're like, Dak, carry us, legitimately. No Amari Cooper, he's gone. It's just CeeDee Lamb in the receiver position. Michael Gallup's still not back. Ezekiel Elliott, I'm not crazy about Ezekiel Elliott at this point in his career. I think Tony Pollard's a better player than him at this point in his career. But I think this is truly the first season where it's like, well, Dak, we're paying you elite quarterback money. You need to be an elite quarterback and elevate the offense. So it's going to be really interesting to me to see if he can actually do that. And this is a perfect first test at home, Sunday Night Football. You get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a damn good defense. I'm leaning Bucs here. I think the Bucs defense are going to get the best of the Cowboys. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I think it's going to be close, but I think Dak is a very good quarterback. I think he's above average. I think at times he has stretches of elite quarterback play. I don't think he's quite an elite quarterback, though. And I think he's going to make a mistake down the stretch in this game, and it's going to cost him because I think it's kind of Tony Romo-esque at one point because they put everything on Tony Romo's shoulders, and he had to really carry the load offensively. And I think for the first time in Dak's career, we're going to truly have to see him carry the load offensively for a long stretch, probably the whole season. So I don't know. It's really interesting. It's going to be a perfect first test for this Cowboys offense. Basically, the question comes down, do you trust Dak to elevate this Cowboys offense enough to get a win against the Bucs?
Do I? No. I mean, no, not in the big one. He just kind of feels like he almost, as you kind of hit it perfect. It's like he feels like a mistake waiting to happen in a big moment, right? He's on a drive to win a game. And I could even close my eyes, fast forward to Sunday night. And if he's on a big drive and Tom Brady's sitting on the sidelines, probably chuckling because he knows that Dak's going to eventually make the mistake, throw the pick, do something dumb. or the O-line is going to just crumble. So no, I don't. And that's exactly, I'm with you. I'm rolling with the GOAT, Tom Brady. He could take 2 weeks off. He could take 3 weeks off. Like I said, when we covered the NFC South, if Tom Brady comes back, he's not coming back to be a loser. He hadn't been a loser in his entire career, and he's sure as hell not going to start now. The O-line does concern me, as we also covered in the NFC South, and just Tom Brady in general. If you look at the history of his career, if teams can get pressure up the middle, it flusters him. He does not like pressure up the middle. The center position is definitely an area of concern. Right guard, they still have Shaq Mason. They still have the tackles are fine. So I expect them to be able to make the adjustments. If they have to chip a tight end, chip a running back, a Leonard Fournette, that's kind of why they keep those guys, keep those reliable blockers. That's why you see running backs run with Tom Brady for so long, because he trusts them when he needs them to chip a block or give him an extra second to make a throw. And he'll find a way to do it. He's just that good. He sees everything. I like Julio Jones is out there. They said he's looked the best he ever has. We'll see if he can hold up. Russell Gage is out there, and Mike Evans. So they kind of have everything. And then when you look at their defense as well, the secondary is healthy for now. It got supremely destroyed last year by injuries, but Sean Murphy Bunting was beat up. The entire secondary was beat up. So right now they seem to be healthy. Levante David's back. Devin White's back. Those guys are all, I mean, everything's there right now. That's kind of, they were marred by injury last year. So the unit, especially the secondary, kind of got toasted. And then on the Cowboys side, I mean, yeah, the Zeke thing, he runs like he's 50 years old. We'll see if he can kind of rejuvenate, because he's, I mean, he could be looking at a cut in the offseason next year. I'm interested to see the Tony Pollard usage. How much will they use Tony Pollard? I mean, arguably last year, actually not even arguably, he was the better of the two backs last year, way more explosion out of the backfield. How will they utilize that? But I think you hit it perfectly with Dak is going to have to elevate some of these guys. Obviously, when you trade Amari Cooper for whatever it was, a 6th-round pick, that was a key target for Dak. They had that chemistry there. It's going to be CeeDee Lamb sliding into that role. We got to see how that works out. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's damn good, so I think it'll work just fine. But the other receivers around him, I know Michael Gallup was limited this week, so they're trying. I don't know if they're trying to do the Cowboys, force him back onto the field too quick. So there's kind of some other concerns at receiver outside of CeeDee Lamb. But yeah, I mean, overall, their O-line, the Cowboys O-line, weaker. When you're bringing in guys like Jason Peters, I can't imagine he's been practicing much, working out much. So no, and I don't trust Mike McCarthy either. Like any team that is led by Mike McCarthy, I mean, Aaron Rodgers bailed him out quite a bit, made him look a little bit better than he ever was. But no, McCarthy with Dak, no, I do not think they're beating the GOAT on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page there. Definitely feel like it's going to be competitive. The Julio Jones point, I'm very interested in watching him play. I think he's going to have a resurgence. I'm not expecting prime Julio Jones or those crazy numbers, nothing like that. But I think he's going to remind people that he's still Julio Jones. I think he's going to have some big moments, especially with no Godwin still, and Tom Brady throwing him the ball. So I'm really excited to see Julio Jones in this offense. I think he's going to have some really big moments this year.
For sure. And no disrespect to Matt Ryan, but I mean, Tom Brady's on it. Even at 45 years old, Tom Brady's on another level of quarterback, right? Pairing him up, getting Julio Jones paired up with him is almost, I mean, that's why Julio went there, obviously, but it's a match made in heaven. So to see him play with Tom Brady will be some fun stuff. And I think it'll definitely kind of unlock, if he's able to stay healthy, like I think he will have a hell of a year in that trio, and that wide receiving core becomes even more dangerous if he stays healthy. I mean, if you have Russell Gage as like your 4th guy out there, it's like it's ridiculous. Plus Fournette coming out of the backfield, so like the Bucs will be scary. But yeah, Julio is going to be fun. I think we're both rolling with the Bucs. I think line is 2.5 Bucs. I'm comfortably, I think Bucs by a touchdown. If I had to,
I'm with you.
And I think it'll be a good game though, right? Like it's not gonna be a pull away, but I think Tom by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think we're in a close, competitive fourth quarter, fun Sunday night game. But yeah, I like the Bucs to cover this spread and win.
For sure. Well, let's move it on. Last game on the slate. There's not really that much to talk about, to be honest. It's really it's Russell Wilson's coming home party to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, more information kind of about the Russell Wilson feud with Pete Carroll came out this week, where it said he was pissed at him that he threw the ball like 5 times in the second half when he was rolling the win, and he was going to win, or he wanted to win the MVP. I think it was 2019, and then they were blowing somebody out, and then Pete Carroll only had him throw the ball 5 times in the second half, and that kind of pissed him off. He thought it costed him a shot to win the MVP, and obviously that award has eluded him up until now. or well, up until ever. He has a Super Bowl ring, but that kind of pissed him off. He goes back 6.5-point favorites on the road. I guess the big question is, can the Seahawks even make a game of this thing on Monday night? We get Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, I believe, right? First, or is it Joe Buck alone? I think it's Buck and Aikman are on Monday Night Football now with ESPN. I could be wrong, but I know Joe Buck is for sure on ESPN now. But yeah, can the Seahawks make this a game? Can they do anything?
Yeah, that's really the only question to me. If I would make an argument for the Seahawks, maybe the Broncos are rusty on offense with Russell Wilson, new offensive coordinator, new head coach, learning a whole new system. Maybe they have some bumps and bruises to start. But I think even if they do, like, they're going to get up by 2 possessions. Like, I don't really see how Seattle can keep this close, honestly. They don't have a good quarterback play. They have a couple of receivers. I'm not crazy about their defense. Seattle should be competing for the number 1 pick to me. They're in full rebuild mode. They might not feel that way. I think they are. It's going to be hard for them to cover the spread. It's only 6.5. I feel like it could be 1 or 2 points higher. I just think Denver wins by 2 possessions. I absolutely love this Broncos defense. They're one of the best in the league. And it's to the point where, like, can Seattle even score 2 touchdowns this game? I mean, it's hard to see Seattle doing anything.
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine, dude. I don't. I think this is literally the Russell Wilson. This is gonna be the Russell Wilson show, dude. I think he wants to come in and stick it to Pete Carroll. I think he loves the city of Seattle, but I don't think he likes Pete Carroll that much, right? So I think he wants to roll into that football field. He'll get the cheer probably when he comes out of the tunnel, and then they'll probably boo him when he's on the field. But I just think it's going to be all Russell Wilson. I think that's what we're going to be focused on, because I don't like anything that the Seahawks have outside of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett on offense. Their O-line sucks. Geno Smith's playing quarterback. I mean, what are you getting excited for on that side of the football? You're just not. It's going to be a long year. I mean, we said it in the NFC West preview. It's going to be a long year in Seattle, and that's just kind of what it is, man.
It would be very fitting for Russell Wilson to go in there and, like, whoop up on him all through the air too, like some late 4th quarter touchdown passes just for Pete Carroll. It'd be very fitting.
Exact. Yeah, Russ wants to come out and have some fun. I think he's going to have some fun. He's going to show off his new tools with his new head coach, and they're just going to do their thing. Yeah, I'd be surprised if the Seahawks can keep it close. I mean, I don't think it'll be like a college football, like 35-point blowout, but I mean, I think comfortably 2 scores, at least 14, probably 14 for the Broncos. If anything, maybe 21, but I don't think they'll ever be in danger, right? Russ is going to go out there and have fun. It's going to be like a homecoming for him to come out and just beat up on the Seahawks.
Yeah, right there with you. Broncos by 2 possessions. I think this game is only going to be fun just because of storylines, not because the actual game itself.
Yeah, it's literally going to be fun Monday when they're gassing it up, and then we're like, oh shit, dude, it's this team is that much bad. Like, the Seahawks are that bad, and the Broncos have an actual team with a Hall of Fame quarterback, and they just smoke them. But let's move on. Last portion of the episode is obviously our spread picks. Let me move that guy over to there. These are our spread picks for week 1. We did this all last year, all 18 weeks. It was fun. It was challenging, obviously, because you see a lot of these lines, and then a lot of them afterwards, I'm like, damn, that's why Vegas is in business, right? That's why they run this stuff. But any games pop out to you, any lines you really like that you would consider a lock of the week, and then any other games on the schedule that you kind of you're interested to watch how they play out?
Yeah, there's a couple. And just for notice, if y'all don't see the Eagles game, we don't pick Eagles games because we're biased. So we take that one out. So no Eagles Lions pick. The one we just talked about, Broncos 6.5. I have just such a hard time seeing Seattle score points. So I really like that one. And there's a couple interesting ones to me. Raiders, Chargers, we went opposite ends on. That's going to be close. The Commanders, Jaguars feels like a coin flip. And then lastly, Bengals, Steelers. I think we all feel like the Bengals are going to win, but Steelers as like touchdown underdogs are pretty good against the spread. They lost by double digits both games against the Bengals last year. So that's the noon game I'm really looking at is Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. I think that one's interesting.
Yeah, with shitbag Big Ben playing quarterback. I don't know, that line. It was like, it was super weird to me. I was like, I don't know, division game 6.5. Obviously, I don't know. I just think Trubisky is probably better than what Big Ben was last year.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, 6.5 points, you're saying they're going to get beat by a touchdown. They'll probably get beat by 2 now just because I picked against just because I picked against them. So that is a fun one. As far as lock, I mean, I'm going with Bucs 2.5. I think the Bucs are Tom Brady's going to come back, roll in, smack the Cowboys around a little bit. Close game, but still in the end, get his way, smack him around. What did I say, by a touchdown when we just talked about it? So I think that. And then I guess another one, I like that Broncos one as well. Yeah, touchdown. He hates Pete Carroll. It just seems fitting for a pretty big ass whooping. As far as the other games on the docket that are going to be fun, obviously Panthers, Browns, it'll be fun to see what Baker Mayfield can do. Big game for him facing the Browns. Obviously, the beef is there when they traded him to Carolina. Obviously, Deshaun Watson suspended, so Jacoby Brissett is out there. You went Browns. Do you think the Nick Chubb show will still be enough, and you expect Baker Mayfield to do at least one of those back foot, roll your ankle interceptions straight to the Browns? I could see it happening. I just went Panthers just because I think Baker will come out with an edge for one game and then go back to the old norm. Oh, wow. Technical difficulties. And then the Commanders game. Doug Peterson brings his Jags to Washington, right, to face Carson Wentz, his old buddy or his old not buddy. We obviously went opposite ends. I just think Carson Wentz is good enough for 1 week to fool you. 2.5. I think they can win by a field goal. I hope they can win by a field goal. For Carson Wentz, you better win. At least win, right? Because, I mean, you go in, new team, they pick up all your money, and then you lose week 1 to the Jags, the team that bounced you last year as well, right? The whole debacle in Indy last year. And it comes full circle and you lose your first game to the Jags in Washington. Be the ultimate, wow moment. So I like the Commanders, 2.5. It should be fun, though. Doug Peterson gets a crack at his old QB with his new QB, right? Trevor Lawrence, to see how that works out.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. That's going to be real interesting. Feels like a coin flip. And very last thing I'm going to bring up is, I see you got a little faith in the Chicago Bears. You got Bears +7. I just have a hard time with the Bears. I think the Niners are just such a better roster.
I have a hard time with the Bears too, but it's like, I don't know what is Trey Lance going to be in his first week. It's on the road. Who knows, right? I mean, I could be wrong. That's literally the only reason I don't know is Trey Lance going to have the week 1 jitters. Obviously, we're just going roster to roster, and they're playing. Yeah. And I know it's a neutral site, and yeah, I would take the Niners roster all day, but on the road, I went Bears. It's week 1. It's hard to pick these games week 1. That is what it is. Any kind of closing thoughts going into week 1? Obviously, this is kind of it for this. We've reached the end of this, but we got football tonight. Should be fun.
Simply just excited for the season. Go Eagles. Hopefully we start the season out with a W against the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, for sure. We better beat the Detroit Lions, man. I pray we beat the Detroit Lions, but I think we will. But yeah, that's going to be a wrap for this episode. Please like, subscribe, and comment. If you have any feedback of how to improve these episodes, as we're always trying to improve our quality as well as presentation, please post them in the comments, add us on Twitter, DM us on Twitter. We love to hear that and kind of interact. As always, Spotify link will be in the description, as well as this episode will get posted on Spotify at the same time that it goes live on YouTube. And thank you for listening. We'll see you all next week to kind of break down week 1 and how it all played out.